Today, I'm going to talk about life decisions and events that lead up to making a real estate decision, and why, if you live in New York City at all, buyer, renter, seller, or landlord, these things matter for you. To own property really is the American dream, or whatever is left of it at this point. What's super important is that when you are making a real estate decision, or before you actually make that decision, that you consider the life factors affecting you, because A, they're going to play into the type of property you're looking for, and B, you really shouldn't make a real estate decision without having any of these life factors affecting you in the first place. Hopefully you are taking the steps to build in a certain direction to hopefully produce wealth for your family and for generations to come. But a lot of people with that sort of thing in mind like to take the time out to consider the market factors and whether or not now is a good time to buy. And what I say to that is I don't recommend it. It's really not based on the market factors or anything external making the decision for you whether or not you should actually make your next move in real estate. What it should be about is your own personal factors and your own goals that really contribute to having to make this real estate decision in the first place. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's say you've just had a partner with let's say you've just had a child with your partner, and you guys have been feeling like now is the time to make a decision because you guys are all cramped in a little amount of space with your child. That in turn may enact a real estate decision because you need to find a bigger space to accommodate your baby. Maybe a loved one has just passed away, and maybe there is some real estate assets, or let's just say a large sum of money that's included in the will that might be coming to you or someone you know. That may enact a real estate decision because either A, you have to sell the house, or B, now you have this large sum of money that you have to do something with. Let's say you get a huge promotion at work and now you're making a lot more on the monthly basis and you can actually afford something a little bit better than what you were living in now. That may enact a real estate decision. Let's say you're renting your apartment and your lease is about to end soon and you really hate renting. Get where I'm going with this? Basically, okay, what should I do now that this is changing the way I live my regular day-to-day basis? And those are the questions that a real estate agent can answer with you once you've identified what those life-affecting factors are. So, you've identified that life event. You know you definitely need to get that bigger apartment, that smaller apartment, downsizing, an investment property, whatever you're doing. You've identified, well, now might be the time to make a move for me. What are your next steps? These are what you should do once you've determined that a life factor is affecting your real estate decision. Number one, run the numbers with a professional. So many people overlook this step and it just doesn't make sense. I can't tell you how many people will just go to the websites and start looking at StreetEasy and online just to see what their options are for a budget that they really haven't even run. I'm not trying to say that you don't have a good understanding of your finances, but the best way to understand what you can actually afford is by meeting with a financial professional, a loan officer, someone who's going to look at your expenses, look at your income, and determine for you what you can afford in real estate. A lot of what that loan officer is going to tell you is about, are you going to be just cutting by and maybe having to sacrifice on a few other amenities, services that you would normally partake in? Maybe you can put a little bit more down to lower your monthly payments. Those are some of the things that you'll be able to determine and talk through with a financial professional. One thing to keep in mind here is that even if you are paying in cash, I do still recommend this because it is a good idea to maybe hear what the rates might be and how they might affect you. Maybe you'll realize that you don't want to put all your money down. Maybe you want to put half of the money down on the purchase and maybe use the other half into something else to diversify your portfolio. Maybe you want to put it in stocks or bonds or something else totally different. But at least that'll be your decision that you were able to make with the most amount of information. One last thing that's super important that a lot of people end up overlooking is your closing costs. Any good financial professional is going to be able to calculate out at least some of your closing costs that you may anticipate up front for your transaction before you even get started. The second step is really speaking to a professional agent, someone like me who is dealing with the market on the regular basis. And why do I say that specifically, besides the fact that I am a real estate agent and I do want to help you? Speaking with a real estate agent, if you're very strategic about it, can give you a few bits of information. Maybe there's something happening in the market itself that might affect pricing or your potentiality for future return on your investment. If you are looking for a rundown of a particular neighborhood or a specific location, maybe a specific borough, you want to get an idea for what's going on, not only in general, but maybe there's something else additional that you may have not considered, or maybe there's something cultural that you would love to know about, something that you wouldn't necessarily get on the day-to-day basis because you're not living in that area and you don't really have a rundown of what's going on. I, as a real estate professional, do market reports and specific address reports based on your neighborhood, and if you would like one of those, I would encourage you to text me for a market report to 646-653-4764, and I'll be more than happy to get together either a neighborhood report or a comparative market analysis based on your address or neighborhood that you are curious about. Not only that, maybe you are purchasing a home and in the process you have to sell your home and you're not necessarily sure what you have to engage in first. Well, they're gonna help you get a game plan together. I've actually had a situation where someone had already purchased their home and were in a little bit of a time crunch to get it all done before a specific time period. If I had known that up front, I would have set together a game plan where we're able to put your first home into contract before locking you into your next home so that it is a smooth transition throughout. Some other things they might be able to tell you about are some new laws that might affect you or the investment that you're looking to make. For example, the tenant protection law has very much well been edited since it was released in 2019, and if you didn't know how it affected you then, which you very much should, especially if you're a landlord, you would definitely want to know what kind of changes have been made to see if that affects your investment or the way you do business on the regular basis. And we have up-to-date information on things like that. The third thing and the last thing that is really important and is more of an ephemeral thing, if you will, is really setting down the goals and knowing your action steps to taking your next move and making your next real estate decision. You have a timeline as a buyer or a seller or an investor or a renter that you need to fulfill, and it's going to be important that you are able to fulfill that timeline in the most efficient way possible. And so really setting that out and laying that out for yourself in advance is a bonus tip that can really help you get ahead of what you need to do and sort of the steps that you need to take, especially since this process, whether you're buying, renting, selling, or renting out, can take a significant amount of time. Now that you've spoken to your financial professional, it would be a good idea to lay out your costs so that it's all on paper, at least in front of you. Again, this is something that you talk about with your financial professional, but then review the numbers again to make sure that it really makes sense for you to make this decision now. The last thing you want to do is get into your home and have to sacrifice a bunch of things that you normally enjoy because you didn't take the time out to do this step up front. And lastly, the very most actionable step that you can do at this point is setting up your team. You've spoken to your financial professional, you've spoken to your real estate agent. The last thing you really want to get into place is your real estate attorney if you're buying or selling. We'll have some awesome recommendations for you if you need them, but generally speaking, it's better to get that locked in or at least have the conversation with a real estate attorney up front so that you know exactly what it is they do and what they're going to help you with when it comes time to settle out the terms and conditions of your real estate contract. And if you would like to check out some more information, a conversation really on someone that I work closely with and what it means to work with a good real estate attorney in New York City, I would check out this video. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to put it yet. That's going to tell you a little bit more about what it is to work with an awesome real estate attorney and how they can help you during your transaction. That's my quick video today, just talking about the life factors that you might have affecting your decisions in real estate. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with someone that might be using it or might need it. And I do appreciate you taking the time out to listen to these 3 action steps that can help you determine whether or not now is a good idea to make a real estate decision based on your internal factors, not just your external factors. And if you want to see the video that I made last week talking about the external factors of the market and how they were right before the turn of the new year, that video is going to be showing up here. And thank you for watching again Easy NYC Real Estate, where I make New York City real estate easy for you. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you soon.